As fires burn out from yesterday, a wandering air's found a better way. For just as night seems most dark, the sunrise comes to warm our hearts.
The ashes of war through the blood and the gore of man once born in this world that is torn. A group that cannot just be stopped or forgot will rise to overcome all odds. And with every new day through the parts that we play, as we push fear away and remember the ways of a man who was kind and whose words will remind. Do better.
You know where I've come from, but not from how far. Our journey's so ruthless, I still bear the scars. And what matters ain't that the world saw its end, but what kind of life we will spend.
I'm trying to be better, but still miss the mark. And each time I save you, I'm left in the dark. No,
When you're in trouble, I'll be by your side. My love for you ain't gonna hide. Can't stop returning. A penance unpaid in a body left laid, but inside the fire keeps burning.
Still death is calling. The rivers run dry neath a blackened out sky, and all the dead trees are falling. Every new day and the creatures we face will see equal judgment or mercy or grace. Decision is needed for those who survive of whether you'll be left alive.
And all bloody work for a hope that we hold of past golden age and its story still told. And what sacred virtues we're able to heed to bring back to those who are in need.
The future is daunting. It's going to be shaped by the choices we make and those of the ghosts that are haunting.
And hope's worth preserving.
Both
Near
near
and
and
so far, all the angels there are, must help bring a peace that's deserving.
traitor. Go and tell that evil raider. Tell the shambler, the gambler, the bit biter. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down. Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My main's been wet with the morning dew. I've been down on bended knee, talking to the man from stable 43. She spoke to me, voice so full of good. I thought I heard the shuffle of the angels' hooves. She called my name and my heart stood still when she said, "Phony, go and do my will." Go tell that lying you traitor. Go and tell that evil raider. Tell the shambler, the gambler, the bit fighter. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down. You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. You know the angel's gonna cut you down. Sooner or later she'll cut you down. You may throw your rock and hide your hand, working in the dark against your fellow mare. But sure as Celestia made day and night, what's down in the dark will be brought to the light. You can run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. Run on for a long time. You know the angel's gonna cut you down. Sooner or later she'll cut you down. Go tell that light year traitor. Go and tell that evil raider. Tell the shambler, the gambler, the bit biter. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down. Tell him the angel's gonna cut him down.
As well as Achieve Hunter in, he's going to be doing some dances.
We can hear you 5x5.
Oh.
That's fair.
Wait, are we live? Oh shoot. Oh.
Hello.
Well, thanks to all came.
I wasn't aware this was a live stream.
Oh, is that where you're streaming right now, Twitch? Cool.
Yep,
Yes,
there's a link.
Yeah, there's currently a link to both of the current panels in our announcements.
Oh, there
I
we
never
go.
really
Now
been-
they can. Sorry,
Yeah.
I apologize, stream. I had myself muted on OBS. I had myself muted on everything because I was doing a bunch of typing and a bunch of final fixes just to make sure everything was working. So my bad. Hey, but we're starting on time.
If this is a live stream, should I leave?
No.
It's
Oh.
up to you.
Just
Is it really
I
only
am
7
the
o'clock right now? Holy
just
crap.
I am the streamer. Just understand if I am talking, that means don't talk. However, and this is also a request. If you are here in Discord, please put yourself on push to talk. Just so that if you cough or you slurp a loud drink or you're munching crackers, it doesn't get broadcast to the internet.
Actually, it's fine. I've actually been summoned into another call.
it.
We're going to watch some Ruby. So it was good to talk to some of you guys again, and if not the first time. But have a great rest of your LooneyCon.
Anyway,
See ya.
Bye-bye.
So, this is the psychological problems of your pony friends. This panel was originally developed in 2017. It is the last of my original My Little Pony batch of panels that are a part of this batch of panels we refer to as Science the Flank that has never been shown. I have applied for this panel at every convention I was at last year in 2019, and no one wanted it. Or there were other panels I was applying with they found more interesting. So I'm really concerned that this is just not a subject that people want to talk about. Hey, how is Fluttershy a psycho? I'm pretty sure that would just get you a few weird looks if you walked up to someone and said that. But, you know, Diamond Doodle is the person who inspired me to do this original batch of panels. So this one and the original, I think, 12 are mostly her fault. I am Queen Quake. This is my OC Wondering. At BabsCon, I played Queen Quake. I run my own YouTube channel. I stream here on Twitch. We do a lot of tabletop games. As a matter of fact, we announced that we are taking applications for a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition game. Yes, Sophiana Katana is Diamond Doodle here there in chat. This is my OC Wondering Sunrise. I write books. These books are actually published legally. That's a completely different subject, and that was $7,000 in 6 months of my life to fight Hasbro and Bethesda for the right to publish a Fallout Equestria novel. And now I'm working on the third one. So, I won! That's who I am. This is what I do. I scientifically analyze fandoms. I do anime, 40K, Battletech. I've done a little bit of Star Trek and Star Wars. I also do My Little Pony, and My Little Pony is where I kind of got my start doing scientific analysis for conventions. 40K and Battletech are where I got my start doing it for YouTube. I just published a 40K a Battletech video 2 months ago. I'm currently working on another one for Battletech that will be ready hopefully before the end of the month. This is just a reminder that until the show writers or producers or director confirms anything I have to say today, this is all scientific theory. Science is allowed to be wrong, and when science is wrong, it means we just have to figure out what the new answer is. Okay? We don't get stuff right all the time. We often get stuff stupidly badly wrong. It's how science works. It's why the scientific method is come up with an idea, test the idea. If it explodes, figure out why and come up with a new idea. It's literally, think about it, do it, did it work? That's how science works. No, Alex, MLP, the show ended, the conventions are still going. I've had, I want to say 14 online conventions this year, and I had 15 MLP conventions last year out of the 21 that I went to. And there is like an existing plan for when we are allowed to have in-person conventions again for, off the top of my head, 8 conventions that I'm invited to as a guest. So no, it didn't die. It's still going. You have to come to my Discord, Raving Fool, which I will give you at the end of the panel. So we're going to look at the psychological problems of these characters. I'm going to come out with a bold statement to start with. Celestia is just a bored, high-functioning sociopath. So, what evidence do I draw upon for this? Let's take a look at clip 1.
I'm sorry, Princess Celestia. I thought I could give you a break tonight, but it turns...
And that did not work as intended.
I'm sorry, Princess Celestia. I thought I could give you a break tonight, but it turns out I was in over my head.
You have nothing to apologize for. This has been the most fun gala in years.
I know. It was a... What? But there was ooze all over the place. And one of the guests...
I'm with Twilight here. How is this...
I know. Can you imagine how dull it would have been if I hadn't invited Discord? Come on!
So, I want to get this absolutely straight. She invited Discord to cause chaos at her own party because she thought it would be boring. Chaos that over the course of the party was at some points life-threatening. Who does that? She has Twilight write her letters. Why? Why does she do that? I mean, from a psychological standpoint, if you have to live vicariously through someone else, the most efficient method to do that is have a pen pal. That's kind of the original purpose of pen pals from prison, is to have you write them letters and they live vicariously through you by giving you, kind of things that they would like for you to do just to see what would happen. And Celestia's constant directive to Twilight is make friends and go on friendship adventures. Alex, I analyze everything deeply. I analyzed My Hero Academia so deeply that I determined that I forget her name, but Frog Girl is the craziest superpower ever because she has a tongue that's literally over 16 meters long. I analyze all fandoms this deeply, regardless if it's ponies or anime or whatever. This is just what I do. People ask questions and I feel like I have to answer them. So people ask questions and I feel like, okay, well, I need to answer that. So she lives vicariously through Twilight and her students. The Twilight is not her first student. Twilight is like her third, fourth, I don't know, like 10th student. But let's see.
Twilight Sparkle, my prized pupil.
Hello, Princess.
So lovely to see you again, as well as your friends.
This is perfectly normal to her.
So, how was the trip? Hit much traffic?
What is this? Oh, these creatures are adorable.
They're not that adorable.
I'm terribly honored that you and the good citizens of Ponyville have organized a parade in honor of my visit.
Parade? Oh, yes, the parade!
Unfortunately,
I would be asking more questions and expecting answers rather than making assumptions.
I'm afraid an emergency has come up in Philadelphia. Apparently there's been some sort of infestation.
So, by the way, these clips are usually timed out to the exact minute that I'm allowed to make them for Twitch, for the exact second that I'm allowed to make them for YouTube, so that's why some of them may seem they cut off at weird times, is because they're literally made so I can post them on YouTube and not have to worry about getting copyright strike, because that's the thing that I have to worry about constantly. I've fought all the copyright strikes I've gotten. The only one that stuck was a community guideline strike because I was literally having a panel where I was talking about pornography. Even though I didn't show any pornography, they still upheld the community guideline strike. Anyway, she acts like her sister's betrayal was no big deal after 1,000 years. And I have another question. Why does everyone flinch when they're around her? Did she just have a morning where she woke up, started to eat breakfast, and went, "This isn't Eggs Benedict. Off with the chef's head and onto a pike"? Because everyone has this extreme reverence and these protocols and manners and everything they go through. And I'm like, where did this come from? The Queen of England doesn't have this kind of protocols. The former monarchy of Germany didn't have this protocol. What? Why does everyone act like this? Even Russia wasn't this bad at its height. Hi, Catherine the Great. I hope you're not rolling over in your grave. But everyone just, like, flinches and has this, like, extreme reverence and fear and bowing and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you had to do something to be a tyrant to have this kind of, like, over-the-top level of everyone bows the moment they see you and looks surprised and shocked like they're expecting you to say something terrible. And then she tortures her students.
My dearest, most faithful student, Twilight. You know that I value your diligence and that I trust you completely. But you simply must stop reading those dusty old books.
She tortures and belittles her students because she's 1,000 years old. She's learned all of these lessons. And lastly, the reason why I think she's a really high functioning, that is to say she has a limited capacity for emotion, but not a full capacity. She's actually cried, but she's only cried twice. Once in Anne Fastow Sterling's book, The Tale of the Two Sisters, and once when Luna came back. The entire rest of the series, every single appearance of Princess Celestia, she doesn't cry ever, even when it would be appropriate. So, Princess Celestia is a high-functioning sociopath. Let's move on. Princess Luna has a guilt complex that could crush mountains. So, for a start, Princess Luna has to experience everyone's nightmares. I have PTSD. I don't want anyone to experience my nightmares. They're terrible. Why would you do this to yourself? Why would you subject yourself to this? But then she creates... Her guilt complex is so massive, she creates a nightmare entity.
To give myself the same nightmare every night.
Now this clip is longer than the standard 8.9 seconds, hence why the voice is warped.
Why would you do that? To make sure I never forgave myself for how much Equestria suffered because... But it seems I have not learned my lesson. For now I have only made you suffer more.
She literally creates a nightmare incarnate beast. I mean, I have felt guilty over stuff. I have had stuff torture me. But I've never tortured myself so much that I literally created a secondary complex in my brain for something to torment me every night. I'd prefer not to have nightmares. And P.S. This is the type of damage that gets inflicted on a person who's put into solitary confinement. When they are legitimately remorseful of the things they have done and they're placed in solitary confinement, this is the type of damage you inflict on them, because the only thing they have to do is sit in this cyclical roundabout of, I did something bad, I feel bad because I did something bad, I'm not allowed to make up for the bad thing I did something bad. Rinse, repeat. That's literally all they have to do. This is why the longer you put, this is why solitary confinement is classified by most nations, not here in the U.S. still, as a form of unjust punishment. And this was done to Luna for 1,000 years. So we can understand why she would have a literal world-ending guilt complex that could cause the apocalypse if she lets it out. Cadence suffers from a lost loved one. This is a bit of a stretch. I'm gonna give it that. This is a bit of a stretch. But Cadence is desperate to defend everyone and refuses to sacrifice anything. Even in this instance, she has been sitting here for 2 episodes, working to keep a shield up, and is willing to potentially put herself into harm's way first and foremost, rather than let Spike do this by himself.
Behold, the Crystal Princess!
The Crystal Heart has returned.
But it goes further than that. We see in many instances, in the few instances in which she is on the show, she puts herself in harm's way first and foremost. And then there's other factors. She doesn't talk ever, even in the 2 episodes where we have her for an extended period of time. She doesn't talk about her own family. We never see her own family in the entire series and movie. She throws herself into harm's way in the movie before she lets Celestia or Luna, who are canonically more powerful than her, to be harmed. And we never find out what happened to her parents. Did anybody notice that? At the wedding, Shining Armor has parents and a sister, and Princess Celestia and Luna. Cadence doesn't have parents. At the wedding, no one walks her down the aisle like you would think a bride-to-be would be done. She clearly has experienced some sort of loss. It's possible she was Celestia's first student. And that loss has affected her deeply enough that she feels the need to love everyone. And this is how a person with a lost loved one often reaches out, they either reach out to no one, if this is an unrequited lost loved one, or they reach out to everyone. Because this is how they're dealing with their grief. And it becomes very hard once that is a trained response to untrain it and stop reaching out to everyone. She makes a perfect candidate for the Princess of Love because she reaches to everyone, not with a kindness, but with a genuine love, as though you would love a sister or a brother. Also, I noticed this, and it's a little creepy. Twilight's a blank flank in this scene. Cadence is not. And they look like they're the same age. Also, she's clearly not an adult on the right-hand side of the screen. And she's an alicorn. Okay. I'll give you that. That's a little odd. But that's probably for another panel. Alicorns aren't born, that is stated by Celestia when she first sees Flurry Heart. That's something that we have to acknowledge. Celestia has clearly gone out of her way... Cadence has clearly gone out of her way to make everyone else happy. To the point she's willing to sacrifice her own happiness on every occasion. We also know how Twilight became an alicorn is because she was willing to risk it all. Point is, Cadence represents love because she has lost someone she loves and refuses to lose anyone else ever again. So, Twilight! There's supposed to be a picture there. Apparently it disappeared. Twilight has OCD and a debilitated self-esteem. And I'll explain what the second one means in a moment, but we've all seen that. But if you ever watched the show, you've seen this. She so desperately needs to solve a friendship problem, she creates an actual cursed object. So that she can write a letter to Celestia about a friendship problem. This is her own doing. This is how bad her OCD is. She goes back in time Terminator style and doesn't know how to warn herself not to engage in her own OCD.
Twilight, you've got to listen to me. Who are you? I mean, you're me, but I'm me too. How can there be two me's? It's not scientifically possible. You are not scientifically possible. Twilight, please. I have a very important message for you from the future.
Her own OCD inhibits her from warning herself about not engaging in her own OCD to prevent herself from ending up in that state. Literally, and I get referred to as her because the words, if someone asks me a question, I feel like I have to go do it. And I now remember... See, I didn't add that last part to this panel. Doodle did. I knew I wouldn't actually check it. It's been 3 years, Doodle. 3 years since we built this panel. This is the first time I've run it, and you still knew I wouldn't actually check to make sure everything was there because I would have confidence it would be. I'm going to move on and talk about the pink pony in the room. I am not actually talking about the pink pony in the room. Psych! Pinkie Pie has her own panel. Every single time I've tried to analyze Pinkie Pie, she simply won't be analyzed within the rules that you can constrain everyone else to. So she has her own panel. She has her own hour-long analysis because every time I try to create some form of science panel, it's always specifically Pinkie Pie, except Pinkie Pie. So, moving on. Rainbow Dash has the spotlight effect. I added the 20% more because I could. Spotlight effect, I will explain. So the spotlight effect is this concept in psychology. I'm going to explain the last part first, then go over Rainbow Dash. In which, if you are not the center of attention, you have to make yourself the center of attention. Because you feel like if you aren't, you've not succeeded well enough at anything you're doing. And now I will play clip 7 and 8. Clip 7 and do a little explanation. She is a Wonderbolt, the equivalent of a Blue Angel in the United States Navy Air Force. And yet she feels the need to go above and beyond to be impressive. And it results in her injuring herself. So she's getting her attention. Even if the attention is more worry and concern for the injuries she is about to inflict on herself. So that's a couple broken bones, electrocution. I didn't realize Pegasi bounced off clouds and rolled with them like I would roll a pinball in a pinball machine. But she seeks to achieve the impossible by her own abilities and practice. And I will give her credit. She doesn't just seek the spotlight for the sake of getting the spotlight. She seeks the spotlight for the accomplishment that she makes. And she has the will to prepare for her success rather than just assuming she will be successful. There's a philosophy that I was taught very young that the will to prepare is more important than the will to win. And she isn't in the spotlight. She goes completely and utterly, hold my drink.
I'll just have to stop winter!
Have you ever been so completely obsessed with your own little world that you believed you could stop a season from occurring? But this is just something she does, and she does it constantly, and it's something she even begins to recognize in later seasons that she should stop herself from doing. And twice in season 8 and 9, and once in season 10, she does stop herself as she gets a thought and goes, no, wait a minute. Applejack is a workaholic on PTSD. So, what in tarnation am I talking about? I'm allowed to say that. I'm from Alabama. So, this is, what clip is this? Oh, I don't have to play a clip yet. So, she believes she has to work harder and more than all of her siblings. See Applebuck season where she tries to do every bit of the farm work that normally requires at least 2, if not 3 ponies to assist her. Applejack's parents are gone. We never find out how, but we know they're gone from a very young age. And we recognize that her and Big Mac both know how it happened, but Apple Bloom doesn't. It is so recognized that Apple Bloom doesn't know how her parents are gone that people have made entire songs about it. This is why I'm glad we have the internet. So, actually I have this bookmarked. So this is by Magpie Pony. I'm giving them full credit for this. But we have entire songs. I'm only going to play the first couple seconds of this.
In my dreams I talk to you.
She doesn't, so Apple Bloom doesn't remember. Applejack does, and whatever happened was traumatic enough to give her a post-traumatic stress disorder in which your response to stress is to work. This is common. My PTSD has 2 responses. Work or fight. I don't have a flight response anymore. Like, people have to consciously tell me, no, you need to back down. Or you need to go take a break. So this is my problem as well. But here we see a clip from season 9. Applejack is so ashamed that she didn't keep her word about how hard she was going to work. She got a ton of second and third place ribbons. And these are the equivalent of second and third place gold medals to her. And yet she is so scared that she would rather cause a dangerous stagecoach chase. And by the way, this ends with one of the stagecoaches literally flying off a cliff. Then to admit the problem. This type of PTSD is common with orphans who lost their parents in traumatic ways. Another very good example of this, one of the two main characters from Da Vinci Code, Charlotte, who Tom Hanks' character has to protect through the entire sequence of the movie, is the same way. She's a workaholic, and this is established at the beginning of the movie, and it's a very common thing for orphans who lost their parents in traumatic events. In the case of Charlotte, from the Da Vinci Code, she lost her parents in a car accident, and she was in the car. You feel like you have to make up for your parents not being there to see your accomplishments. You feel like you have to make up for your parents not being there to support your siblings. You feel like you feel like somehow the death that was caused is your fault, even though it is very likely there is nothing that you could have done or nothing you did. You still have this feeling, and you always feel like you have to make up for it. One of the best ways to treat this, oddly enough, is to be a big brother or big sister, and be that person that shows up to their sporting events to cheer and root them on, because it will slowly pull them away from this idea that they have to make up for their parents not being able to see their accomplishments. So it's there. And that's what I'm talking about when I say she's a workaholic with PTSD. Rarity's OCD could kill her. I mean this literally and figuratively. She's a savant. She has a savant work ethic mixed with total perfectionism. This is a lethal combination. People work themselves to death when they have this combination of things. An example of this recently, I think last year, a streamer who streamed World of Tanks literally died because he was doing a 48-hour long charity stream. And he refused to go take a break or rest or take care of himself, so his heart just gave out. She will also put others' lives at risk for the sake of her own work, in addition to some extreme vanity. You are falling at terminal velocity! Why are you bothering to check your makeup? Rarity goes to see dragons, diamond dogs, chimeras, griffins that are not exactly friendly, all in the name of fashion. These creatures have been openly shown to be hostile to her kind. She has been known to hurt herself, go without sleep, even to harm others for her craft. And her OCD is beyond reasonable.
Go ahead, see your little show. Congratulations, fillies. Sounds like you've all figured out already it's every pony for herself in this town.
Her friends are all there desperately trying to help her. They just want to go see their show. And in reality, it will probably do no harm for them to go see their show. And she doesn't even, this is how obsessed she is. She forgets to say thank you. She doesn't do extra things to help them. She just expects their help in this case because she's so focused on the task. her demand for perfection nearly costs her all of her friends. And just because her friends understand this later in the same episode, just because her friends forgive her, does not mean this is not without consequence. You can do pretty messed up stuff when you are being mentally unstable. It does not absolve you of the consequences. And you need to recognize that. Fluttershy is an earth pony with wings and doesn't realize that she has wings half the time. She also wants to be a tree. She forgets she has wings. Dead serious. Yeah, Pinky. You would be the psycho who would enjoy this. She has wings. She can fly. This is her response. Did you just... Hold on, I want to double check. Did you just... Yep. Yep. You just covered your eyes with the things that would stop you from dying in this case. I just thought I'd double check that. Oh, and she states repeatedly she wants to be a tree. She even has costumes to pretend to be a tree.
You too, Fluttershy.
And she's done this so often
Come on, let's go.
that Rainbow Dash can pick her out of the other trees. Despite the fact that in the animation, that costume is picture perfect. There is absolutely no way I could tell the difference in that tree and this one, other than it having a wider base. Like, that costume is picture perfect. But she's done this so often that everyone can pick it out. She interacts with mostly non-flying creatures. She talks to bears, rabbits, chickens, dogs, cats, skunks, turtles. Occasionally she'll talk to a butterfly, an owl, or the breezies, but most of the stuff she does... Yeah, or when she was turned into a plant and was just like, I'm okay with this. I cite that Fluttershy is a Pegasi, but is a druid. She really is just an earth pony with wings. She wants to be a tree, or she wants to be... she is what would be referred to as the wallflower of wallflowers. She wants to be present, but she doesn't want to be acknowledged. This also begs the question, is she able to talk to trees? Are trees sentient in Equestria? Does she know this? Like, this is a serious question now for me that I don't have an answer for even after doing tons of research on it. This is her crippling social anxiety made manifest. She can talk to animals because she doesn't have to worry about the animals talking back to her. And she's constantly challenged by her rabbit, whose name escapes me at the moment, because her rabbit is the only animal that judges her.
Angel.
Angel, thank you. On top of the massive crippling social anxiety. How do they deal with their psychological problems? We have depression, spotlight syndrome, guilt complexes, high functioning sociopathy, PTSD, two or three different forms of OCD, and a completely crushed and repressed self-esteem complex. Support network. Friendship literally deals with most of this. When you get into the psychological state of a mental breakdown or a mental dysfunction, or something is wrong because you have a mental illness, the way you get out of that cycle is to have someone else reach in and pull you out. The reason why we are social creatures is because in evolutionary terms we understand that our brains do not work if we are by ourselves. Hugs and cuddles literally kill depression. They literally release endorphins into the brain that stops depression from affecting you. They focus on the task at hand as a group. Doing it by yourself can result in, Rarity's worker savant problem. Doing it as a group and supporting each other through it, and when someone gets frustrated, letting them vent their frustration and then helping them get past that frustration can cause the work to be easier and to be a focal point to get your psychological problems out. See Applejack accepting the help of her friends during the Applebuck season episode from season 1, episode 4. Self-care is proven the wrong way with the Fluttershy Zecora episode, which is the last Zecora appearance we get, and I am utterly pissed about that. You hear me, Hasbro? There is no Zecora in season 10, and I am upset. But anyway, that's a whole nother can of worms. That's not how you do self-care. It is correct that if you're not prepared to deal, if you haven't dealt with your own stuff and you're not well yourself, you can't help someone else, but you don't do it in a way that puts someone else's life at risk. They all have life goals. Rainbow Dash wants to be a Wonderbolt at the start of the series. Applejack wants her family's farm to be completely self-sufficient. Twilight wants to graduate from Celestia's personal student program because she's never heard of anyone ever doing it. Fluttershy wants to be able to go to a party and to tell people no. Rarity wants to become a fashionista with multiple boutiques across the world. We get to see them achieve these life goals, and then what they do with the life goal afterwards as the series continues past the point where they've all achieved what they really wanted to. Now we get to see how that plays out after the achievement and what you do with it once you've achieved it. How do you deal with it? How do I deal with it? I write. Writing brings a sense of euphoria to me. It can be stressful, but doing so helps me deal with the world. Writing also requires that the world around me inspire me. So you notice there's like a poster here. All of my con badges are behind me. I'm going to turn it on webcam so you guys can see this. So all of my con badges are behind me. This rack here contains the gifts that I've been sent. I still have a bunch that I have to unbox from moving. But this rack contains the gifts I've been sent by fans. Up here on the wall next to me. This is what I literally look at when I first walk into the room. Because the doors... opposite it is these paintings, 3 of which were made specifically for me. In addition to this, I look at the copy of Fallout 2 that was sent to me for my birthday. That copy of Fallout 2, by the way, is signed by the entire original staff, including Ron Perlman, the guy who does the voiceover for the opening of the Fallout games except Fallout 4. These are the things that help inspire me. Outside in the other room, there are wall banners and other posters and a flag that's hung up. I've got a ton of posters and stuff I need to put up, but I got to figure out something that will stay stuck to the Adobe that the room's made out of. This is how I deal with it. How do you deal with it? What do you do to deal with your life? With your psychological problems? And if you aren't doing anything to deal with it, maybe you should figure out something that works. Now, in the meantime, I do have a question section. Don't need that. So these are all of the links to everything I do. You guys are already here on Twitch, but the Twitch link, I don't just stream panels. I stream for, basically streaming is my main source of income. Especially right now with no conventions being in person. Sorry, I got to bring everything back up because it's in screen mode. But there's the links to everything I do. If you have a question that you don't want to ask out loud, or you want me to go study some other science question, there's my email. I take submissions through there. I can tell you no with those submissions. If you become a patron at a certain tier, I have to just do it. I have to at least do a 5-minute video on looking into it. That's how the Battletech video came. The latest Battletech science video came into existence. Was somebody asked me to look at mechs, and I finally got around to it, so I did. There's links to all of the things that I do. the YouTube channel one for Shotgun Angel didn't. Because the Shotgun Angel link is where the music at the start of the stream you heard. I own that music. I'm the producer of that production company. And that's also where my audiobook is produced. Down below here at LooneyCon, you will find my store with all of my things. Stuff I make. I'm working on my 3rd book. I had to delay it again, and people are now getting free bookmarks, which I actually got in the mail. So anyway, this is your chance to ask questions that I haven't answered yet. But yeah, see, I actually got the bookmarks in the mail. These are on cardstock and then laminated, so they're really actually kind of thick, boys. I didn't expect them to be this thick, Inky. Thank you. So here's your chance for Q&A. If you guys have a question you want to ask or something you want to know, this is your chance. I usually allow 10 minutes for this. This panel went a little fast because it's an online panel and I can't exactly interact directly with the audience and slow down the panel naturally because there's no one here to like raise their hand and or make commentary and stuff that I can play off of. So if you guys have any questions, this is your chance. Let me go check my own Discord server. The Discord server, you can scroll down, you can see it. It's right there. My Twitter's down there below us. Also, if you don't want to buy anything in the store and you don't want to be a patron, but you want to support me anyway, there's a tip jar. That's where most of my income comes from, is the kindness of people who are like, yeah, I want to see you keep making stuff.
So, about Rainbow Dash, didn't the episode Parental Guidance address her issue with constantly needing attention? Like it being caused by her parents constantly praising her since she was a baby?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember Billy display included a used diaper.
Yep, it's why she has the spotlight effect. It's why she has that psychological condition. Is because her parents delivered so much constant praise that she expects that she wants that praise from everyone. That is exactly the reason why. Also, somebody mentioned how to join the D&D game here on my Discord server. That is not what I wanted you to do. My Discord server, you talk to Daz. Just DAZ. Yeah, DAZ. I can't see numbers when I'm streaming, by the way. Discord actually hides those from the streamer, so I can't like give out people's Discord identity when I'm streaming by accident. See, look at this. I'm going to show you this. So bring us over here, even if I bring up my own name. So even if I like select myself, it doesn't show my, it doesn't let me see my profile. So I can't actually like give you guys his reference. But what I can do is I can type in, there it is. So this is our GM for the D&D 5e game. If you want to talk to him about joining the D&D game. Moonhoof is the one for the Fallout Equestria game, and Gilded Dash is the one for the Star Wars game. So that answers that question. Pinkie Pie is actually an eldritch horror created through the idea that there are actually hundreds of Pinkie Pies across the multiverse, but they're connected together as one sentient being, and what you're actually seeing into existence is like a fingertip or a tendril that is an instance of Pinkie Pie talking to the greater being. And they can interpose themselves. That's why she can outrun Rainbow Dash or suddenly be in a place that's physically impossible for her to be in. They can just do that.
That's fair.
Is she similar to like Rick Sanchez, like from Rick and Morty?
Conceptually, yes. The difference being she doesn't have to physically talk to versions of herself. That's done automatically because the versions of herself are a part of a greater whole.
Okay.
That's at least the working theory that we have.
This isn't really a question, but more of a statement. But I miss in-person cons.
I do miss in-person cons. I agree. I broke down crying after Cider Fest online last weekend because lack of in-person conventions. The last in-person convention I had was HarmonyCon in February, and I came home sick. So, yeah. Haven't had a in-person convention since February. Last year I had an in-person convention every other weekend because I had 21 conventions. Between Comic-Cons, anime conventions, and My Little Pony conventions, I had a total of 21 events. And this year, I've only had 2 in-person events. Everything else has been online. Yes, Raving Fool would like to join the game there, Prince Dazzle, if you have time. Anyway, or would like to know about it at the very least.
I had kind of a mental breakdown a while back, but it was earlier on, and I dealt with it.
Oh, it's just me coming to the realization that normally Ciderfest is the end of my convention season, because I don't really do conventions during November or December unless it's something special that I was asked for. Looney's convention happens to be something special because he's one of my he's a very dear friend of mine. Even if we don't talk as much as I would like, he's still a dear friend of mine, and I treat him with a certain degree of reverence when he makes a request. So even though I wouldn't normally be streaming today because I didn't get notified about having panels until like Monday before I'm supposed to have panels, and I'm like, usually I tell conventions you need to tell me at least 2 weeks in advance so I can, rearrange the schedule and let the people for the tabletop game know no game today. And you didn't do that, so normally I would have to tell you just flat out, no, I can't be there now. But I'm going to make an exception and do a panel for you anyway. Same thing with TrotCon. TrotCon's very Darkly is a very, very close friend of mine. Darkly is the reason why Ellie, Ray, and I got to spend time together at TrotCon, and Darkly is therefore the reason why Ellie is indirectly the reason why Ellie Ray Hennessy is in the Fallout Equestria audiobook. For those of you who don't know, she's the voice of Mistbane in the in the show. She's the voice of Shadow Window in my audiobook, who is the mother of Wandering Sunrise. The main character, the mother of the main character. And then on the flip side, she's also the reason why Bill Newton is in there, and she's partially responsible for helping me get George Leedix to join us. So those are actually voice actors that cost quite a bit of money. She's directly responsible for No Whacking, because she had No Whacking and I rooming together. And we talked about it that weekend while we were rooming together. So she's directly responsible for that. Anyway. I think that's everything, unless somebody has a burning question. You do have my email. It's right there on the screen if you didn't want to ask the question out loud or in my chat, or you want to send me a question later. This panel will be on YouTube in about 72 to 100... in 72 to 120 hours. I'm sorry, I had a little heartburn. Which, for those who can't do math, that's 3 to 5 days. Because I have a 48-hour wait period, because I'm an affiliate here on Twitch. I have to wait on 48 hours before I can post things. How am I today? I had a mental breakdown at 6 a.m. I had to go back and take a nap in order to prepare myself for the Star Wars game, and I still wasn't fully prepared for the game.
Oh my.
That's a different subject altogether. Anyway.
I do miss that real-life con experience.
It happens, Dazzle. It was bound to happen eventually. Anyway, I will see you guys hopefully later. And hopefully you enjoyed me here at LooneyCon. Again, everything in the store goes to support research like this. So if I need to get access to physics books, if I need to get access to materials, if I need to get access to other pieces of information that are normally behind closed doors, money is a very, very good way to get through those closed doors. keeping my library subscription to the Rutgers University Library open is done through your donations, because that's $197 per year to maintain that library membership. The University of Delaware's library membership is $306 per year. So that's over $500 a year in just library fees for the two universities where my degrees are from. Because I have a bachelor's and an associate's from University of Delaware, associates in biology, bachelor's in human sexuality, and a master's in human communication from Rutgers. Just to keep my access to their library open is over $500, and it lets me access a lot of academic journals that would normally cost like $10 or $15 subscription fees to get access to.
And that's all online?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I can just access it remotely. Just open it up and be like, done. Anyway, thank you guys for coming. I will see you guys tomorrow for a live stream I'll be putting on. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the panel. This is the last panel from 2017 that never got presented. All my other 2017 panels have been at least one convention. This is the only one that never got shown at any convention. And now Doodle can sit over here and go, my job is done. All of the panels I helped her make actually got put on. Anyway, it took 3 years for you to get that joke, Doodle. I hope it was worth putting a joke in one of my panels 3 years ago for me to finally find it. Anyway, good night, everyone. I usually end the stream with a raid. That's where I take, for those of you who are new to Twitch, that's where we're going to go to someone else's Twitch and make their day, because we're going to suddenly give them a huge audience by taking the audience we have and combining it with theirs. So in this case, Obsidian Entertainment is running a charity stream. So we're going to go raid them a second time today and just let them know, we appreciate them. So this is, when you land there, you type in the following hashtag I'm about to put in chat to let them know you're a part of the raid. In the meantime, good night.
Sleep well.